Hello and welcome. Today we're working on what is the CAPM in finance, or it's called the Capital Asset Pricing Model. Now you'll run into this in your finance courses at your university, where you figure out the risk and return of an asset. Hey, if you're new, my name is Jeff from Finally Learn, where I teach a lot of financial skills, accounting, finance. So please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get started with CAPM. Now the return and risk is really what you want to think about. This is trying to quantify the idea of what's the return that's required versus the risk. The higher the return, the higher the risk. If you have a low risk, then you'll probably get a low return. So they go together, and that's kind of the big picture of the model. But let's look at the model specifically, and what three things do you need to know? Well, this right here, let's look at the ER. The ER sub I is the expected return of an investment. It could be Apple stock, it could be Tesla stock, so on. Well, we need to know three things. Number one, the RF here is called the risk-free rate. And the way that it works is typically we use the 10-year U.S. Treasury notes. What's the yield? I looked that up just a minute ago, and it's right at 4.15% is the yield on 10-year Treasury notes. So the idea is you can invest in 10 years for a 10-year Treasury note, and you can get 4.5%, not 4.5, but 4.15% return over the next 10 years. You get that risk-free without, the government missing payments or make sure you'll get your money. So we start with that. Now, what would cause you to go from a 10-year Treasury note to buy stock? Well, buying stock is more risky, so therefore you have to get a higher return for that to happen. So we start with the risk-free rate, and that's the RF component. Now, the thing that looks like a B, well, that's a Greek letter beta, and beta of I is the beta on an investment. So if we look at a particular investment like Apple stock, we will in just a minute, we would figure out what's the beta on that stock versus the market. Well, one thing we do on the market is we assign 1 to the market. So the S&P 500, the 500 largest U.S. companies, are collectively a beta of 1. So if you have a 1.1 versus the market, it's 10% more risky than the market, so you would require more return than just the market return. Now, then we have a parentheses. We're going to take the difference of the expected return, ER, of the market, the sub of M there, the expected return on the market, and we're going to assume that is right at 10% for the long-term average of the market. Could be 9, could be 9.5, something like that. So the expected return on the market for a stock market would be maybe 10% for the S&P 500. And so what happens is we're taking the beta times the difference of the expected return of the market and the risk-free rate. Well, that has a name itself. That's called the market risk premium. So here's what happens. Why would you not invest in the 10-year Treasury note? You're getting an automatic 4.15%. Well, you might want to invest in stock because it might have a higher expected return, but it has a higher risk. And so to compensate you for that extra risk, you've got to get extra return. Now, to make this where it works for you, let's do some examples, and let's do Apple and Tesla and Walmart. So we've already plugged in our risk-free rate is 4.15, and our expected return, we plugged in 10%. Okay, I'm going to build a formula here. And for Apple, you can look it up. I think I went to CNBC and looked up Apple and found the beta for Apple, and it's 1.09. So 1.09. So how do we do this formula? We're going to take the 4.15% plus the beta times the 10%, which is our expected return on the market, minus the risk-free rate of that 4.15%. That number is the risk premium, market risk premium, times the beta of 1.09. So let's do the math here in Excel. So we're going to start with, I'm going to point to the 4.15%, okay? Plus, I'm going to take, I'm starting with parentheses, I'm going to take beta times, and then I need to do the expected return, 10%, minus the risk-free rate, and then close my parentheses on the beta times the market risk premium. And so we should get something that's a little bit higher than 10%. Now let's check our work for a minute. What if it were exactly 1, exactly like the market? You know, the market has a 1.0 beta. Well, if we did it this way, we plug in 1, then you're going to get 1 times the market risk premium plus the risk-free rate. You're going to get exactly the expected return of the market, okay? Because Apple is 1.09, then it requires a higher return, 10.53, to compensate you for the extra risk on top of what the really market risk is. Now we can go all the way across. Let's do Tesla and let's do Walmart. So if there's no beta, then you would just have the risk-free rate, right? You can see that, but there is beta, right? And so for Tesla, the beta is, let me check my notes, 1.84, so it's more risky than the market, right? So it's going to require a higher expected return. So to compensate you for more risk, then you need the expected return of 14.91. Now what about Walmart? What's their beta going to be on its stock? Well, if it's just like the stock market, it'll be a 1. If it's less risky, it'll be less than 1. If it's more risky, it'll be more than 1. Well, Walmart is not as risky because everybody buys Walmart in good times and bad times. If the market goes down, there's a slowdown of the economy, people still need to buy staples at Walmart. So actually Walmart 0.066. So about 1/3 less is risky. So therefore, if you buy Walmart, then your expected return is going to be about 8%. Now what happens is, you don't have to make the choice to buy just Apple or just Tesla or just Walmart. It helps you see, what the CAPM helps you see is how risky a stock is versus the expected return. So what you want to do is own a portfolio of lots of stocks, and you probably need to own 40, 50, 60 different stocks to have real diversification. You don't have to accept that everything's riding on Tesla stock. You could own a portfolio of lots of different companies and you get a beta that's closer to 1.0 like the stock market. I hope this is helpful. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Ask your questions in the comments below. I've got lots of videos on accounting and finance and Excel to try to help you learn. Hey, thanks for watching and good luck.